And basically, I'm just going to go through the first three for those of you that might be having any problems. So what I'm going to do is go to my smart notebook. And let's have a look what we got. So my first question, is this one here. And basically, it is the cube. So a solid cube has sides of length 5 centimeters. Work out the total surface area of the cube. Just remember that, of course, the surface area is that that space around the outside. So it's all of this side here and this side here and this side here. So the areas of those, and of course the 3 sides that we can't see at the back. Right, when I'm doing a question like that, what I do first of all is I look at this, I've taken this to one side and I think of this cube and I think of its net. And I'm just going to do a basic diagram of a net. And the net of any prism, or in this case the cube, but a prism essentially looks like a plus shape. But it's got that cross, in fact, where what we've got are the 6 sides like so. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Now, I usually look at the front one and call this one, so I'm going to say this one is A. I call that my cross-sectional area. And in this case, I'm going to say that that is A. And in fact, the one opposite it is also A. So when I'm looking at a surface area, I think of the 2 ends. Now, what I also need are the dimensions. Well, I know that this is 5 and this is 5. I also, because that is there and that is there, they're the 2 that are linked to A. But then I've got this side here, which is also 5, which is that one there. Now, what I've got to do is think about the areas of space that I've got. Now, the first thing I would do is just look at A itself. And I know that its base times height is just 5 times 5. And that is 25. And in this case, it will be centimeters cubed. But the value of A is 25. So that's the area. So these 2 here are both areas of 25. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this big shape here. Now I could look at the 4 shapes inside. But what I'm going to do is just look at that one rectangle and think about its dimensions. Well, first of all, I know that is 5, but what I also want is I want the length of this side here. Now, that's actually the same as the perimeter of that square in this case. And the perimeter of that square is 5 add 5 add 5 add 5. So, in fact, the length of this, if I just draw that red line there, that is in fact 20. So the area, if I call this one B, big B, the area of B is 5 times 20, which is in fact 100. So to get the surface area, SA, what I've got is 25, add 25, going into my smart notebook graphic, plus 100, which is 150 centimeter squares. So that's how I'm going to think of every prism question. So that's the first one done. Okay. Right, let's look at the second one and let's see how I can apply the same idea to this. Right, once again, it says find the surface area of the cuboid drawn below. 8 by 3 by 2. So what I'm going to do is a little sketch. These sketches aren't great, and this is something I'd advise you to do. Just draw yourself a sketch. When you're in an exam or something like that, ask for that extra paper and do that little sketch. It doesn't have to be accurate, and in fact, you can see mine definitely aren't. I know a cuboid has got that cross shape. It's got 6 sides. All right, it's not to scale. So all I've got to do is start to think about my dimensions. Right, this front side I'm going to call A. And as I did before, I'm going to call that A. And I'm going to call that A. So I'm looking at its dimensions. Its dimensions here are 8. Does it matter which one's 8? No, I'm going to say that one's 8. and its height comes from this over here, which is 2. That means that the third dimension must be, as such, the width of this, so that one there is 3. Now, let's have a look at A. Well, A, nice and easy, base times height is 8 times 2, which is 16. Once again, right, let's start to think about this rectangle here that I called B before. There, B again. Now, what I've got to do is think about its length here, this up and down again. Now, how did I do it before? Well, I looked at the perimeter of A. And if you want me to write that down, the perimeter of A equals 2 plus 8 plus 2 plus 8. Not great writing, but it's good enough. And 2 plus 8 plus 2 plus 8, that's 10 plus 10. So the perimeter of that is 20. So that length there is 20. So the area of B, so B is just that width there of, or base we might call it, is 3. The height there is 20. So what I've got is 3 times 20 is 60. Now my surface area is just 2 lots of A, which are 16 plus 16, plus my B, which is 60. Well, 16 and 16 is 32, plus 60 is 92. So I've got 92 centimetre squares. Okay, nice and easy. Very formulaic, very similar the whole time. I'm going to do one more and then see if you can apply it to that surface area 1 homework that I gave you. This question, here we go. This time I've got an 8 by 8 by 4. Yes, once again, it's a cuboid. Interesting with this one, of course, it's got a square base because we've got 8 times 8 at the bottom. But is it any different? In fact, it isn't. So, as I did before, look at it separately. Think about the cuboid. Yeah, we know the cuboid has just got that cross shape, 6 sides like so. Does it matter whether it's very accurate? No, it isn't. I'm following the same routine. I'm looking at the front side. I'm calling it A. So here's my A and here's my A. What's my dimensions of A? Oops, should write them in. Well, it's 8 by 4. So there's my 8, there's my 4. Does it matter which way? No, it doesn't. So, and then remember that the other side, this one, is that width there across the top, which is also A. So the area of A is just 8 times 4, which is 32. Now, same as before, here's B. I know its width is 8, but of course what I'm thinking about is this height here. And as I did before, I'm just thinking about that perimeter of A. Well, the perimeter of A is 4 plus 8 plus 4 plus 8, which in this case 4 plus 8 is 12. So 4 plus 8 is 12. So that gives me a perimeter of 24 centimetres. So this length here is 24. So if I want to then work out the area of B, well, I know that its base is 8, its height is 24, and so what I've got is 8 times 4 is 32, 8 20 is 160, so I've got 192 centimetre squares. However, I want the surface area. I can see that I've got 2 A's, so I've got 32 at 32 plus 192. So I've got 64 there, plus 192, check the maths, 256 centimetre squares. Okay. What you can see, this type of question is, get that diagram down, get that net, get your 2 ends, call them A. Get that rectangle in the middle, and with a prism, it will always be a rectangle, call it B. Work out your areas of A, look at your perimeter of A and use it as that height. And then what you'll be able to do is work at any prism problem whatsoever. Tomorrow, I'll come back and I'll show you how we get maybe a triangular ended prism, a triangular base prism, or a cylinder, and using exactly the same technique. So have a go at those surface area questions that are left. There is a triangular prism in there to have a go at.